Now, as you heard me mention a few minutes ago about application level attacks, this is realistically where the tires are hitting the road. Why? Well, nowadays, yes, it's very important to start thinking about security within the code before you develop it. So don't develop the code and then start thinking about the security. We've got a huge amount of overloaded work in this realm of code assessments, and you've got various different types of weaknesses within the code. The attack methods typically would be looking to see what we can access as we would be from the outside or from the internet. So we would look at the applications that are used on a target web server and the technologies, the languages that the web server is using for the different technologies being used. We know that the content of these websites now are far more advanced in giving you these little, flashy things that move across the screen and play cool music and all that cool stuff. However, by having so many different technologies at the application level for that perhaps web server requires us to do an array of different types of testing. So an external test looking at the application from the outside web point of view. It may be that you actually go and access the 40,000 lines of code where you're going to choose the core modules or perhaps the areas of concern where you're not going to take all code to review it, but you're going to manually review chunks of it based on the important areas. Or you could possibly also use some of the code scanning tools. All of those do require either a lot of time and money or the expense of actually purchasing the software packages out there. So realistically, from the countermeasure side of topics, we should look at creating the code securely right from the beginning and not trying to fix it once it's been in the production environment.
Right, so let's have a quick demonstration of what is meant by application layer security, or effectively application layer attacks. So this is a very, very low level, straightforward type of attack, nothing convoluted or hieroglyphics in any way, shape or form. What we're going to simply do is, number one, look at Google, and as you can see there's a huge amount of search results I got back from the key terms, the latest on application security. So remember, this module is intended to be a quick overview, and this is really for conceptual understanding, so it makes it a lot clearer for you folks to understand what are the different types of attacks, what's really happening at those levels. So remember, with regards to the actual slide, we're looking at software applications. A lot of the developers producing these new programs don't actually design the security in the code from the beginning, and therefore they land up having to try and harden the security within the applications afterwards. So I'm going to be using a nice little application, a free application called Burp Suite. And what Burp Suite is going to enable me to do in this example is to intercept a request to purchase an e-commerce product. And without going into too much detail at this module on all the different other features of Burp Suite, for this example we are just simply going to intercept a purchase of an item that we're going to make from our client machine before that code is sent back to that target application server, or in this instance the e-commerce server. We will first look at intercepting that, modifying the price code field, and then continuing to forward that traffic back to that web server. So if I look at the proxy, you would have to set your Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox or whatever browser you're using to use a proxy server. In this case, we're using it on the loopback, the 127.0.0.1 address range, and it's listing on port 8080. And so now when I go back to Internet Explorer, we'll see that quite clearly by looking at the options. And when we look at the actual options, we would set those specific settings. If we look at connections, LAN settings, we would set our proxy server to be the 127.0.0.1 on port 8080. So again, no rocket science type of attack. I have gone to this website called LANgalaxy.com. Now bear in mind, you changing the price and purchasing something or completing the purchase of this product, that would then be breaking the law if you were caught. However, we are, for demonstration purposes, just showing you the first part of this attack. And so what we'll do is go and search for a nice little device, perhaps a firewall, and we'll pick a expensive firewall. Let's look at this $10,000 Cisco PIX as an example. And as you can see, before I actually choose to purchase this item, I'm going to go back to Burp Suite and make sure that Burp is configured to intercept these queries. So I go to the Intercept tab, click on the Intercept, so it's now been switched on, and then I can go back and click on the Add to Cart. And as I choose that, so my Burp Suite will start flashing, and I will be able to go into the price code field, as you can see, and we'll change that price of that item. So really just go along and change it from $10,000 to well, I can afford $34.38. And so we can now choose to actually forward that traffic back to that backend application server or e-commerce server. And so if we go have a look at Internet Explorer again, you can see how simple it was for us to target a weakness within their application. In this instance, it's not necessarily a specific area. It could be that they haven't balance checked the actual code when it's going from the website to the backend database. And again, without going into too much detail at this level, we will be looking at this in much greater detail later on. So this is so that you could understand what is an application level attack.